And so thanks again for returning to Classic Dirt Bike TV, and in this video here we're going to take a brief look at some of the racing highlights from the Scottish Classic Motorcycle Club's Round 1 event from Finavon in Forfar. So we're going to get straight into the first race of 2023 as we watch number 98, Liston Bell, taking up his position on the start line. So this first race is the combined pre-1968 up to and over 350cc and the pre-1975 up to and over 300cc class. So as you can see, quite a decent lineup for this first race of 2023. Some nice vintage machines there on the start line, and our official starter today is Stuart Riddle. So as they leave the line, looks like Darrell Wiley has made quite a good start there on that 250 Honda 4-stroke bike, but as they head up the hill, it's number 4, that's Robert Kennedy on that 1975 CCM who takes the lead. And so this round 1 event here at Finavon is of course the first of a 7-round championship for the Scottish Classic Club in 2023, with most of the events taking place in and around the central belt of Scotland, although we do have a round scheduled for Bastonwaite later in the year, which will be the furthest south that we'll venture in this year's championship. So as they come round to complete lap 1, it's number 4 Robert Kennedy on the Clues 1975 CCM. Second is number 98 Liston Bell on the big 4-stroke Jawa. Number 29 is Derek Macaulay on the 250 Bull Tackle. As we take a look at some of the other riders crossing the line to begin lap 2, number 49 just going through there is Ian Marr on his immaculately turned out CZ. But it's still Robert Kennedy as they make their way up Finavon Hill, but it looks like Liston Bell has got that big Jawa clicked into top gear, and he's blasted past Robert Kennedy. So Robert unfortunately now down to second position, with Derek Macaulay there, number 29, breathing down his neck on that little 2-stroke 250 Bull Tackle. And Derek, of course, a local man, Arbroath, which is not too far from this Forfar racetrack. But as you can see, that little 250 of Derek's is very quick and still managing to hang with Robert Kennedy's big 500 4-stroke CCM. And this number 4 rider, Robert Kennedy, on the CCM in second position is his late father's bike that he used to race years ago, but it's nice to see Robert back out on his father's CCM once again, but going very well here at Finavon. So there's your current race leader, number 98, Liston Bell. But this is certainly a good scrap going on here between Robert Kennedy, number 4, and Derek Macaulay, number 29 on the 250 Bull Tackle. So a cracking little scrap here between these two guys for the second and third placed position. So as they cross the line to begin another lap, it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, with number 4 here, Robert Kennedy, in second position. And as you can see, the track here at Finavon Hill in Forfar is in absolutely perfect condition for this round 1 event. And there you can see Ken Suter there on that Rind Tut Wasp sidecar outfit that we take a look at in the paddock video, and it looks like Ken's using it as his personal transport to get around the outside of the course. But as we get back to our race leaders, there seems to have been a change at the front. It's now Robert Kennedy who leads this race. Liston Bell is now down into second position, so I don't know if maybe Liston's left the track momentarily, but he's certainly back up to second position once again. So as they cross the line to begin the last and final lap of this race, it's Robert Kennedy, number 4, who leads at number 98, Liston Bell, on that big 4-stroke Jawa, and Liston Bell now takes that pole position back from Robert Kennedy, and it's still Derek McCauley there on the 250 Bull Tackle, who sits in third position. So we're now looking at our race leader on his last and final lap. It's Liston Bell, number 98, who leads Robert Kennedy, and this man here, number 29, Derek McCauley, in third position. So as the three leaders head up the Finavon Hill for the last and final time, it's still Liston Bell, your race leader, as he comes down the steps to take the checkered flag for his first win of the day. So it's Liston Bell who wins the first race of the day, with Robert Kennedy here, number 4 on the CCM, coming across the line in second. And it's also been another good ride there by Derek McCauley on that 250 Bull Tackle in third position. A nice gaggle of classic riders there: Paul Chiappa and Craig Smith and Brian Hamilton, who bring us quite nicely on to race 2. This is the pre-1984s up to and under 250cc, so we do have a few 125s as well in this race. So as they leave the line, it looks like a good start by John Stokes, number 151 on the 250 CR Honda. As they make their way up the hill, it's number 1 Jim Grieve in second position on that 250 Red Rocket. So it is indeed number 151 John Stokes, your race leader. Jim Grieve is in second position. Number 233 is Graham Smith. Number 43 is Andy Malik. Number 27 is Mike Doby. And number 78 there, that should be young Peter Martin. But weather-wise here at Forfar, you can see it was a bit overcast, and the Finavon track once again was in fantastic condition, as it always is when we visit in the early spring of each year. But in terms of the temperature on the day, the posted high was said to be around 10 degrees, although it was bitterly cold, and it felt like it was actually minus 10 in that cold, bitter wind that was blowing across the track. But as the riders come across the line to begin lap 2, we are taking a look at Graham Smith just going through there on the IT 250 Yamaha. Number 43 coming towards us there is Andy Malik on that lovely Montesa 250 Capra. So here's your race leader, number 151 John Stokes on that immaculately prepared CR 250 Honda. Just one of the many bikes that John races at these events. And even as John comes round to begin lap 3, he's already got quite a decent lead over second man here in the orange outfit. That's number 1 Jim Grieve on the 250 Honda Red Rocket. Another quite talented rider is Jim. He sometimes races a 490 Micro as well, but it looks like he's decided to use his 250 Red Rocket at this round 1 here at Finavon. Just coming through there in third position is number 233, that's Graham Smith on the lovely IT 250 Yamaha. And also just coming through there on a 250 Red Rocket is number 27 Mike Doby, and number 59 there, I think that it could be Ian Aitken. So So it's still at number 151, John Stokes, on that very quick CR 250 Honda, who is your race leader still as he comes round to complete another lap. Now remember, I think it's 6 laps for the pre-1984 bikes, where of course it will be 4 laps for the vintage machines. But John Stokes going very well on that 250 Honda. So second place man is still this man here, number 1, Jim Grieve on the red Rocket. So we're just picking up a few of the other riders as they come towards the line. It's number 27 there, Mike Doby on the 250 red Rocket, being chased by number 590. I think that's Ian Aitken once again on that 250 RM Suzuki, and it looks like Ian has moved up a place and taken that position from Mike Doby. So it's still John Stokes who is circumnavigating this Finavon hillside racetrack with relative ease, and he's got a comfortable lead over Jim Grieve in second position. So this has been a very good ride here by John Stokes, who, as I said, normally rides 490 Michaels. Now here's number 43. This is Andy Mallock, and this is just one of 3 bikes that Andy's brought along to this event. You may remember we had a look at Andy's CZ in the paddock video, and this is his other race bike, his 250 Montesa. But Andy also races a big 1983 500 Armstrong as well. And we'll just give a few of the other riders a mention. Coming towards us there is number 10, that's Gary Bucket on the 250 Husqvarna, as we take a look at our race leader John Stokes crossing the line to begin another lap. So John Stokes already starting to make his way through the tail enders of this race. So that 250 Honda is working very well here at Finavon Hill. So as we look further down the track, we are looking at our second placed position rider, number 1, Jim Grieve on the 250 red Rocket. Doesn't look like Jim's going to be able to do anything about the speed of John Stokes in first position. As we take a look at our race leader, number 151, John Stokes, coming through to begin his last and final lap of this first pre-1984 class race of the day. So this has been a cracking start by John on his 250 Honda. Jim Grieve going through there in second position as both these riders now begin their final lap. Although I must say it's still great to see these old bikes racing on these kind of natural hillside racetracks. No man-made berms or tabletop jumps to cope with, just the natural undulating landscape of these Forfar hills. And we're taking a look at number 52 there. That's Bill Porteous on his quite nice YZ250 Yamaha. Looks like Ian Aitken has just made his way through again. But here's your race leader coming to take his first win of the day. It's number 151, John Stokes on the 250 Honda, and it's going to be quite a good second position here for this man at number 1, Jim Grieve. So that brings us quite nicely along to race 3, which again is another combined formula between the pre-1977s and the pre-1989 125s. So as they leave the line, what a stonking start there by number 24. That's Sam Sibbald riding that big 500 TT 4-stroke Yamaha. So As you can see, it's Sam Sybil, number 24, who leads the pre-77 part of this combined race. Number 17 going through there is Mike van der Meer. Number 78 is Peter Martin, and this is another little CR125 Honda that we had a look at in the paddock video just recently. And as you can see there, we have a brand new race leader. It's number 416, that's Mike McClurty, riding that CR125 Honda, a very quick little machine. As we take a look at number 17, Mike van der Meer coming up the hill. Number 78 again is Peter Martin on his 125 race bike. As we take a look at number 17 again, Mike van der Meer. I think he's being chased by number 254. I think that's John Miller. But here's your race leader coming towards us, number 416, Mike McClurty. But of course, Mike is only leading the pre-1989 part of this race. It's still, I think, Sam Sybil who is leading the pre-77 part of this race. But this is a very quick rider on a very quick little motorcycle, number 416, Mike McClurty. But the riders already coming round to begin their last and final lap. Number 17 is Mike van der Meer on his 125 Honda. Mike will also be riding a 250 Michael later in the day, but at this point he's on his 125 Honda. But here's your race leader as he heads up Finavon Hill for the last time. Number 416, Mike McClurty. Looks like Mike's going to have an easy run to the checkered flag for his first win of the day. So another good start to his 2023 season and a win for 416 Mike McClurty. And it's going to be number 24, Sam Sybil, who's going to take the win for the pre-77 class. So that brings us quite nicely into race 4, which of course is the pre-1984 over 250cc class. This is basically the open class for the 1984 bikes, but some really fast riders in this class. Look out for number 75 David Loudon, number 2 Paul Chiappa, and of course Craig Smith, number 25, is very quick on his Michael, but our race starter Stuart Riddle is just about to let them loose, and it's number 25 Craig Smith who's got the jump over James Haddo, number 124, on that big CR500 Honda. If you remember, we took a look at this bike in our paddock walkabout. So as the riders begin lap 1, it is indeed number 25 Craig Smith, your race leader. Number 75 David Loudon is second. Number 233 is Graham Smith. Number 2 Paul Chiappa. Number 43 is Andy Mallock. Number 19 is Gordon Forbes, just making his way through there. So as we look to the far side of the racetrack, coming down from Finavon Hill is number 25. It's still Craig Smith. Number 75 there in second position is David Loudon, and I think that's David out on his Yamaha YZ465 in this race. Third place is Graham Smith on the RM400 Suzuki, and it's Paul Chiappa in fourth. Number 43 is Andy Mallock, just making his way through. Number 18 is Jim Colligan, and we're taking a look again at number 19, Gordon Forbes, which is another bike that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout. So it looks like number 19 Gordon Forbes has made a decent start on his big Michael, but it's still Craig Smith, number 25, your race leader. David Loudon is still second. Graham Smith is in third on the RM400 Suzuki, and we're looking at number 2 Paul Chiappa on that 81 490 Michael. So again, it's another very good start to this race by this man here, number 25, Craig Smith, from my hometown of Dunfermline. Second is still number 75, David Loudon, and David's another very quick rider with the Classic Club, and he can certainly work that 4.65, that's for sure, even although he again is not 100% fit, but he's still going well here at Finavon. And as you can see, David's been chased by number 233, Graham Smith, on the RM400 Suzuki, and Paul Chiappa on that Michael. But it's still number 25, Craig Smith, who is your race leader. This is another 490 Michael, but this time, of course, being decked out in this black livery. As we look at our second, third and fourth placed positions, but it looks like Paul Chiappa has now moved up into third position, and he's now chasing David Loudon. Graham Smith is now down to fourth position, so as they come round to complete another racing lap, it's still Craig Smith, your race leader. Number 75, David Loudon, is in second, and at number 2 there, Paul Chiappa, is in third. And just in case you're wondering, this is not a 250 that Paul Chiappa is riding, it's actually a 490 with green background number plates. But it's still number 25, Craig Smith, who is already starting to pass some of the back markers on this track, but it looks like Paul Chiappa has now moved up into second position and past David Loudon, but David's still going very well on that Yamaha, despite him not being 100% fit for this event. So as a race leader comes towards us to cross the line to begin another lap, it's number 25, Craig Smith, who has quite a comfortable lead over second place man, which should be Paul Chiappa, number 2. David Loudon is still in third position on that very quick Yamaha. But as you can see, the conditions here at Finavon for this round 1 event are absolutely perfect. And I actually just got a glimpse there of number 43, Andy Mallock, who was parked trackside on his big 500 Armstrong, so it looks like Andy's had some kind of mechanical issue with his big Armstrong. As we take a look at number 124, that's young James Haddo riding that big 1984 CR500 Honda. Remember, this was another bike that we had a look at in our paddock walkabout, so James going very well on that big Honda. But everything seems to be clicking into gear for this man here, number 25, Craig Smith, as he completes another racing lap. So this has been another good start by Craig in this pre-1984 class race, as he starts another racing lap. Paul Chiappa there is still in second position there, number 2. And it's David Loudon who's keeping a watching brief in third position on his 465 Yamaha. But this man here is certainly on form today here at Finavon. Number 2 again, Paul Chiappa, with number 75, David Loudon, going through. Number 233 is Graham Smith on his RM400 Suzuki. You may remember we saw Graham out in one of the earlier races on his IT250. So it's the man from Dunfermline, number 25, Craig Smith, as he comes round to start his last and final lap of this pre-1984 class race. So hopefully no problems for Craig as he begins his final lap, but it's still Paul Chiappa, number 2, who is being chased by David Loudon in third position. Now, of course, we haven't covered every single race from this round 1 event on the day, but in the short video and of course the next one, you'll be able to get an idea of what went on in the first part of the day's proceedings. So as our riders make their way round on their last and final lap, we're looking at our 4th placed rider, number 233, Graham Smith, but there's certainly no mistaking the rider worthy of the win. It's this man here, number 25, Craig Smith, as he gives me a bit of verbal as he crosses the line. But it's David Loudon who's going to take that second position away from Paul Chiappa. So David must have got the drop on Paul at one of the far sides of the track. And so that quite nicely brings us back to the start of the race programme. And this once again is the combined pre-68s up to and over 350cc and the pre-75s up to and over 300cc. Number 98 there is Liston Bell, number 4 is Robert Kennedy, number 125 is Ian Stainton, number 49 is Ian Marr on the CZ, and number 22 is Darryl Wiley on the 4-stroke Honda. Number 71 closest to us there is Brian Aird, as they all get ready to leave the line. Looks like Kenny Harper has been stuck on the start line at this race. So as the riders descend from Finavon Hill, it's number 98 again, Liston Bell on the big Jawa. Robert Kennedy is second. Looks like Derek McCauley is third. It looks like Ian Stainton is in 4th position on the big stroker, but as our race leader comes towards us to complete his first lap, it's number 98 Liston Bell going round the track speedway style on that big Jawa 4-stroke single. And it looks like it's still Robert Kennedy in second, with Derek McCauley third and Ian Stainton in 4th. But this is another cracking start by Liston, who of course is normally racing with his younger brother in this class, but unfortunately Lewis did have a bit of a shoulder injury last year, and he's still not back to 100% fitness, and Lewis would of course be challenging his brother in this race if he was fit, but hopefully we'll see Lewis back on the track quite soon. So we're taking a look at number 4, Robert Kennedy, as I said, on his late father's CCM, and just going through there is Brian Aird, number 71, who I think is being chased by number 109, that's Colin Nelson on that 250 Husqvarna. But as I said, it was absolutely freezing here at Finavon on the day, and a howling wind to accompany it, but it was still a perfect day for the riders, but certainly not for the spectators, who were all decked out in their winter woolies. So we're taking a look at number 29, that's Derek McCauley from Arbroath. Quite a local man to this track, and very quick as well, as you can see on that Spanish 250 Bull Taco. And chasing Derek is still number 4, Robert Kennedy on the CCM. Number 49 there is Ian Marr on his beautifully turned out CZ bike, one of the nicer CZs that were taking part in this round 1 event here at Finavon. So nice to see one of these Czechoslovakian CZ machines here at Forfar. So as we just check in with our race leader, it's still number 98 Liston Bell on the big 4-stroke single Jawa machine. I'm not exactly sure if this is a 500 or 600 cc bike, but as you can see, it's certainly quick enough to keep him out in front here at Finavon as he just comes round to start his last and final lap of this race. And of course this is just part one of the racing highlights from Forfar. There will be another video posted quite soon with part two and the remaining highlights from the first half of the day's proceedings, so make sure that you take a look at that as we watch Derek McCauley just crossing the line to begin his last and final lap. But it's another race win for this man here, number 98, Liston Bell. So that's 2 races out of 2, a perfect start for this first round of 2023, and another good ride here by this man also, number 29, Derek McCauley, on the 250 no tackle. Okay, so there you have it, just some of the racing highlights from the first few races here at Finavon, and if these are the kind of bikes and racing that you like to look at here on YouTube, then I do hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel so that you don't miss out on more of the racing from Forfar when we all return for part 2.